go. We finished the last video, part 2 at Vestrahorn. After 2 days, we left the campsite there and started our final eastward leg of our adventure to Eystrahorn. Behind me, up on that hill, is Hvalnes Lighthouse. I think that's how it's pronounced. And it is a little orange lighthouse sat right on the coast. And I've done a couple of things here. There's these lovely mountains in the background behind me. And it's currently snowing. Just jumped out the van. Maybe I'll move back from the van in case that's coming through in the audio. But the clouds, and it's really moody coming across here now, which is very nice. I stuck the drone up just before all this snow came in, or just as the snow was coming in, and did a very wide angle panorama shot back towards this coastline with this rugged mountain line coming up through here, and it looks great on the controller. I hope it looks great when I get back home. And then there's this lake here, which is Hvalnes Nature Reserve, and we just parked in the car park and had a cup of tea. It's covered in ice at the moment, but perhaps in the summer when it's a calm day, which I guess doesn't happen very often in Iceland, not at least that I've seen, you might be able to get some really nice reflections of these, which looks a little bit like Stocksness and Vestrahorn Mountain, but a little less dramatic. But yeah, maybe a nice reflection there to there. However, I just used the ice in the foreground and tried to get some foregrounds, but struggled with the cold. And I've done my back in today, and I don't know what I've done, but it really doesn't feel great. So I'm going to hop back in the van and start heading east from here. But this is Hvalnes Lighthouse. To get the best shots, you have to put your drone above the sea. Using the wide-angle panorama functions, you can capture the full view, which is truly epic. The sea, coastline in the foreground with the majestic Eystrahorn behind. I love these shots. Then around the corner at the nature reserve, here are the shots with the ice in the foreground and our campervan in there for scale. The weather really had moved in, making this a proper moody scene. Now we're starting to make our way back west to Reykjavik, and we made the long journey, 2.5-hour drive back to Skaftafell, great campsite by the way, and visited the glaciers there. Okay, so my pocket tube just ran out, recording this on my phone, so it might be a bit bad, and I'm not sure about the audio because of the wind. But we're at Skaftafell Glacier today. We've hiked all the way around and we're at the bottom of the glacier now, but as you can see, it looks a little bit dangerous to go any further. So what we're going to do is probably head back and get the long lens out and try a few compositions. There's some beautiful blue glacial front there. It's a bit dirty in here. It's not great, but let me just put my hand around and try and block out some of the wind. We've got this beautiful runoff glacier here. Looks really nice, and there's some icebergs. Want to try and pick out some of those with the long lens. Yeah, can't get too much closer to the bit where I wanted to shoot, unfortunately. So just going to play around here and see how it goes. But it is April, so this is starting to melt. There's a lot of water coming down. There's glacial runoff rivers we had to cross, so it's getting a little bit sketchy. But let's play at the bottom of the glacier. The ice where we were was a bit dirty, but we took some shots anyway. I was still struggling with my back from the day before, so didn't do too much, just enjoying the cold blue hues of the surrounding landscape. After spending the night at Skaftafell, the next part of our return leg was to make it back to Thingvellir campsite by nightfall via this incredible canyon, which I can't pronounce. This evening I'm at Fjaðrárgljúfur. Really butchered that, and
I'll put the name up there. But this canyon was formed during the last ice age. Apparently the rock here is about 2 million years old, and the last ice age sort of tore this canyon apart. There is a waterfall flowing in over there, a river coming up from the top of the mountains back here, and it's flowing all the way down and winds through lovely S-bends, lovely pillars of this mossy rock on either side, looking out over onto what looks like the sea, but that is actually a mossy lava field in the background. And we've come in April. It is winter time, and I think a lot of people who do come here walk out onto these pillars on the left-hand side as you're looking at it, because you can't get on the right-hand side. You're not allowed over there. But at this time of year, there's a path, and you have to stick to the path, so there's no getting off onto these pillars here. And you can see there's well-worn paths going onto each one of them as people want to come and do their Instagram shot of me looking down the valley, which is very nice. I'd have loved to have done one as well. But so the compositions are limited due to the fact that you have to stay on the path. I did pop the drone up to try and get some slightly different perspectives, but mainly a composition here is trying to get a nice view down through the valley, one big leading line, nice and simple. Now, at about midday-ish, because you're looking pretty much directly south, the sun will be over there and coming straight up the valley. That might be quite nice. So we are just getting towards sunset now, and the sun is really not coming out from behind the clouds. It's just sort of giving a faint yellow glow onto the left-hand side of this canyon. So I don't know what sort of pictures I'll get, whether they'll be a little bit flat or whether the sun will actually come out, but at Fjaðrárgljúfur, it is absolutely beautiful.
It doesn't take long to get up to the viewing platform, which you can see here, but the views are definitely worth it. This first image was taken from the platform. Really worked hard to edit some dynamism into the scene, considering the relatively flat sunset. Most of the good shots I got, however, were from the drone, either looking straight down, like this one, or higher up, showing the full extent of the canyon and getting this lovely diagonal composition of the canyon going from bottom right to top left. After bringing the drone back down, I got this perspective of Kaz on the platform looking down the canyon. And finally, on the route back down to the car park, there's a spot where you can look back up the canyon, which is where I snapped this one. Our last full day was exploring the Golden Circle with the rest of the day tours. Kaz was driving, which allowed me to get some passenger photos. This one of the rivers we crossed, and a colourful digger as we made our way round to the Geysers.
We're at the Geysir hot springs today in the Thingvellir National Park. And I've just seen the big geyser go off a few times in a row. Not many compositions here. You've got to stay inside the lines and everything like that, but it is a sight to see. The parking is free, and when it goes off big sometimes. So here's a couple of shots.
It was hard standing around for 20 minutes, holding a camera up, waiting for the exact moment the geyser would blow. Kaz managed to catch one of them on film whilst I took this photo, a high f-stop to get a sunstar in the mid-morning. The third time it went off was much bigger. I was in a different position to get this lovely high contrast black and white shot. Then it was off up the road to Gullfoss, an amazing and huge waterfall. However, the wind was stupidly strong, meaning long exposures were out of the question. Being the end of the winter, the path to the viewpoint I wanted to get to was closed. However, I still got these two shots. It looks so beautiful with the frosting ice around the rock, orange grass and the blue turquoisey water. After Gullfoss, it was a drive around Thingvellir again, back to this lovely church from my first video, with the semi-frozen lake behind it. Further along the road, we got to the frozen lakeside. Lovely colours in the trees that I got with the long lens, followed by some amazing patterns in the ice, with the evening sun just glossing over the top of them. I do love these abstracts. And finally, we got back to Thingvellir campsite, with the last light of the day creating some beautiful colours in the sky. It was our last day and we had to drop the van off in the early afternoon, so we made our way over to Gullfoss as our last stop before Reykjavik and a well-earned shower. It was still super windy and my attempts at long exposures here were mostly futile. Luckily, on the drive over, there was this beautifully coloured house standing out amidst the snow-covered National Park highland. And this was probably the best shot I got of Gullfoss, ice foreground and a random tourist for scale. That's my Iceland trilogy box set complete. If you liked it, like it. If you disliked it, dislike it. I always appreciate a like and subscribe if you enjoyed the content and want to see more. If you haven't caught the previous installments of this adventure, why don't you go check out part 2? Vestrahorn is an absolute beauty.